G'day and welcome with the Inforunners. I'm Al Garrett and today I'm joined by Execute and
G'day.
Dyson. Yes, Dyson is back from gallivanting around the States. Hayes is still buried with work and Execute is still sick as a dog. But we're here. And today we're going to look at something we've talked about in the past. We've said this is something we need. And one of the next medium large ships we expect to see. But we also decided we'd try and work out or try and think what were the manufacturers who we think would best fit those types of ships that we think are coming. And so with that, without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Execute to start us off.
Yeah, so we were kind of talking about this earlier today because as of time of recording, the Mercury's just came out into the ship shape, came out today. And we were kind of going through that's a medium ship, and the previous one was a medium ship. Does that mean we're going to get more medium ships? And so we kind of logically just sat here and go, well, what are the other medium ships that are going to come out? Now, the caveat to this that I'd probably add is you might even see merging of these professions. So you might see a ship that does 2 or 3 or whatever. But the main thing is we've basically these are the professions we most likely think you're going to see, and also most likely the manufacturers to go with them based on the ones that need more ships or are missing ships. So with that, I'll hand it over to Dyson and you can kick us off the ball rolling.
So for this first one, we are looking at repair. It just makes sense that they would start off with repair, and for this we're looking at something like Consolidated Outlands or MISC because they don't have a ship in that role. And when you look at all the ships currently, you have the Reclaimer and the Vulture, different manufacturers. You have going on to your Orion and Prospector, again, different manufacturers. So it kind of makes sense. And these manufacturers are kind of missing some things, especially Consolidated Outlands. It really needs some love. What would Elon Musk do? Repair makes sense.
And the reason we're thinking repair is at the moment we've got the Vulture, which is a starter ship, and we've got the Orion, the Crucible, with the great cavernous hull to be able to repair, house a Hornet in there as well. And yet there seems to be something just needed something smaller, something than a Crucible, bigger than the Vulture, and hence
Vulcan.
So Vulcan. It just seems to fit that there'll be something else in there that'll do that. So yeah.
The other one that we chucked in there besides Consolidated Outland was MISC, because we have a Starfarer, and actually, I don't know if you guys agree, but I think that would be a good one to go with the Starfarer, a repair ship that's about the same size. Made sense to me. I'll also let you do the next one, Dyson, because I know you're going to want to talk about that because it's your favourite on the list, so take it away. Yes. Oh, wait. One thing I forgot to add at the start that I totally forgot. The order we're presenting these in today is also the order that we think that they will possibly be sold in just because of the popularity of them. In the past, the more popular a ship will be, the more later they seem to sell it. And therefore, so repair will be the first one because it won't be as popular as the other ones, as you'll see. All right, sorry to interrupt, Dyson, take it away.
I will say the caveat here is I think the ship that we're releasing next in this category is actually going to be one of the most popular, Science. And the reason we're thinking Science here is because we're looking at either Crusader or Apoa. And the reason I'm thinking Apoa is if you go back to the previous video they did on, what was it? Flight Intelligence for Squadron 42. They showed off an interior of a Xi'an vessel. Xi'an, their science, their exploration, that is their thing. And looking at that crisp interior, the high-tech nature of that ship, it just seems perfect to release at CitizenCon with all the big hype, the big new must-have ship. And Science seems to be the industry that would make the most sense of.
Yeah, and because that episode of ATV Flight Intelligence, which was a Squadron 42 update, that ship that they were working on was related to Squadron 42, which means We know that they're pushing Squadron 42. We know that those things do get preference and do get extra effort or work or time. And so this ship that seemed at the time to be fairly well advanced in its development, whatever ship it was, just seems to be a logical step for the next ship to be released. And while we're thinking, the order, I actually think we might see if it makes sense for CitizenCon to have this big reveal ship, and logic seems to say Apollo being the provider.
They like their alien tax too on ships too, so it seems to make sense to me. The other thing I'd add to that tax is much like the repair ship between the Vulcan being a small ship and the capital class of the Crucible, it's the same thing again, with the Science. Because of their Reliant Sen, all the way up to the Endeavour. That's a massive jump. There's definitely room there for another science vessel. And I actually reckon being an alien ship would be really awesome. If not alien, as we said, Crusader might be another one that could possibly fit in there. And the main reason for Crusader is really Crusader and Law are meant to be this really large manufacturer that make all these ships. And at the moment, they've only got 3, which, that's a long way to go if they've even got to catch up to MISC. And apparently they're meant to be equal or bigger than MISC. So they need a lot more ships.
Well, it's because you have an entire planet manufacturing ships. An entire planet. And they only manufacture 3.
Yep.
Yeah. What planet? What planet? It's a planet we fly around when we go into the PU. That big thing. It seems logical to have them having more ships.
Do you want to do the next one, Agrid?
Yeah, but the next one we're considering needs some love is salvage. And I suppose this is if science was Dyson's favourite, I think this is mine. We've so far got our little vulture, and we go all the way up to the munchy reclaimer. Massive gap in the middle. We've said in the past we actually think there's an easy variant in here, and I think it's true. I think there's another ship easily to fit in here, and the two we're thinking of is again Consolidated Outland, mainly because what would Elon Musk do? It seemed to fit with the idea of the pioneers dropping bases and using resources to build bases. So what better than having a ship to recycle stuff, feed it to pioneers so it can build stuff. But for me, the company I'd love to see put out a bigger salvage ship would be Drake. I know that Drake just put out their little vulture, but when you read the writer's law or the writer's guide for writing about the companies and writing fiction for the companies in Star Citizen, one of the things they say about Drake is not the pirate link, is not the fact that they're known for selling ships that pirates use, but the fact that they're known for their salvage and salvage shops and their recycling. And at the moment, what have we got from Drake that does anything like that? We've got a small vulture, and that doesn't seem to fit with what this should be the overarching idea of what the company does. So for me, a larger salvage ship by Drake would be ideal. And Execute, why don't you
I might do the last one, but I was actually going to take a bit of the salvage for a minute. I also think the Consolidated Outland kind of fits the whole theme of on the fringes or out there. So anything that, like, if you look at the ships that they've kind of mentioned, like the Pioneer going out and building a base, and the little cheap starter ship, that the Consolidated Outland is really based around the on the fringes aspect. So a salvage ship lends heavily to that. A mining
and also
ship
the everyman.
That thing. Sorry, Dice.
I said the everyman. That's the other big thing. Like, anyone can do whatever they want if they put their mind to it, and this allows that.
Yeah. And so the last one we've got today is, of course, we probably gave it away a little bit there, is mining, which we also think could be a Consolidated Outland ship. Now, Consolidated Outland comes up a lot on this list, as kind of does Crusader, because they are both manufacturers that are said to have a lot of ships that don't have a lot. The mining ship itself, I think there is room there for possibly 2 ships. We have this giant capital ship in the Orion, and we have this tiny little prospector. There is easily room there for a medium and large ship. I don't know what other manufacturer at the moment, but I'm sure you can think of 1 or 2. But at the very least, there's room for at least 1 more, in my personal opinion. And again, for the reasons we gave about Consolidate Land, again, I think that would be the top pick. Crusader at the moment seems to be a ship that's based more around really large industrial cargo-like style ships. I don't kind of see them as a mining, but I could be totally wrong.
I could see, again, I could see Consolidated Outlander doing a mining ship, mainly because when they brought out their Mustang, it was to, you know, take it to RSI, a big shipping giant. And so what's the other big ship that RSI have got in industry? It's mining. And so I could see Consolidated Outland having a ship to kind of compete with that. But I could also see RSI having the medium to large mining ship as well, even if it was just using the original almost scale of the Orion and having it have less cargo or less versatility, but keeping the basics there.
I actually worry about
doing that as well.
I worry about that a little bit, Agrid, because they already have the Orion, they already have the Apollo, and they already have the Constellation. But that said, I do agree with you. RSI do need more ships, so I'm a bit stuck.
Yep. Yeah, it's the same with science. Like, you know, we know that RSI have the Aquila, and yet it doesn't feel like a science vessel, even though it's kind of sciencey.
Just to break in here, Origin.
Yeah, see, that's another one we talked about today, was a science ship being Origin, because really the only 2 science ships at the moment are both MISC ships, which is kind of strange. It's one of the only ones that kind of break the rule on variety. They like to have 1 of every ship, but the MISC ones have science nailed down right now. Again, though, as Algrid says, if Aquila is in fact a science ship, then we may not see a medium science vessel. But again, it would be really exciting to see an Apollo science vessel. I reckon it would be just astounding.
I think an Apollo science vessel would be awesome. But you know, as we say, this is our thoughts, I suppose, what we think would be awesome, and the reasons why we think those manufacturers would be good. It'd be great to see another Apollo ship, because there's only the one, and so they do need, you know, if any company needs love, it's them.
The other caveat I'd probably add to that is ones that emerge. Like, I'd really like, and I know Dyson's brought this up several times as well, is a mining salvage vessel. I reckon that would work really, really well. You know, one, you know, especially if it's a larger one that you know, that's got large, not as large as a Reclaimer, obviously, and not as large as an Orion, but being able to do both, that's probably equivalent to a medium, but 2 medium ships joined that equal a large, if you get my meaning, would be really cool.
Yeah. So,
all right,
are there any other thoughts you guys want to add?
I think we covered it. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing what the comments are on this one, because we read them and you guys probably thought of something we haven't.
Likewise, I wouldn't mind saying that myself. It's always good to get a bit of feedback from everyone. You'd be surprised how much we actually have a lot of internal discussions off comments. So yeah. So if you like this video, like this video. If you dislike this video, dislike this video. As I said, leave a comment. We read them all. We might not reply to them all, though. We've also got Discord. Jump on there, ask us any questions you want to ask. And other than that, this has been Algrid.
See ya.
This has been Dyson. And I've been Execute. We'll catch you next time.
And we're out of here. Take care.